Deeds Departments. Of course, everybody knows in reference to the Deeds Department, in reference to the movie Mr. Deeds, or the history of the movie. You know, they had to organize officers to go around to find out who these people were that was trying to steal my father's property back in the day, too, you know. In reference to people that was trying to play, or they were trying to hijack shit in reference to dirty government or whatever they were trying to do. Now, of course, the Deeds Department, you know, this is very serious. I was supposed to receive monies from the Deeds Department. I have not received any at all. So the Deeds Department knows this is a hostage situation. And, you know, it's a very serious situation. It's, you know, very serious. You know, I have to move to my mother and father's mansions. You know, every time I got kidnapped from the mansions, and when my mother rescued me, or some of my Italian uncles or European uncles, each and every time I went back to my mother and father's mansions. This is a hostage situation. I'm the owner of the mansions. People have been blocking me from the mansions, and they've tried to make up suspicious activities of something, which I have nothing to do with. None of their people's accusations. These people are sitting there trying to hold me hostage, trying to conjure up something that they would make up to try to make manipulations, or to try to play games to prolong their hostage game. It's illegal. They had no right trespassing on the property to kidnap me from the property. That was trespassing. I'm trying to get home to my mother and father's mansions. That's where I'm supposed to be. This has been mentioned before. I have not received any monies or checks or credit cards or any lawsuit monies or any insurance monies yet. There's lawsuits all over the place. There's lawsuits against the government for everything. And people trying to play tricks. Now, in reference to the Deeds Department. The Deeds Department is one of the most powerful offices in American government. It's not really so much of government, it's outside of government too. It's like, you know, it's, and of course, I own all my mother and father's properties and businesses forever. And this is a hostage situation. The Deeds Department, hopefully you can bring money and put it in the mailbox. You're aware of the abuses, you're aware of the violations of government, and the government doesn't have a right harassing the Deeds Departments. You know that, right? No matter who the politician is. I was probably supposed to get a paycheck from the Treasury too, or from the Deeds Department, but I haven't received any of those either. I was supposed to get a paycheck from the Treasury since I was a little boy. I was supposed to get paychecks from the Supreme Court since I was a little boy. Because I own the most land, and I own my mother and father's estates, plus, you know, I have membership status of those particular offices too. And in reference to the Deeds Department, you know, just like in the movie Mr. Deeds, you know, people had to organize officers to go to places and find out why people had been stealing postal mail. Like, for instance, in this situation of who I am, you know, people tried to send me postal mail. People tried to send me money, but it wound up somewhere else. The Deeds Department has to go over and say, hey, how'd this postal mail that has this address where I'm at, but they'd say to them, how is the address on those letters over at this other person's place? That's what the Deeds Department is supposed to say. Hey, wait a minute, where's this at? Where's that at? How come that ended up over there? I never received my White House Christmas present since my mother died. Or the White House somebody in the White House was stealing my Christmas presents. See, I'm on the White House Christmas list. Haven't received anything in over 24 years. Plus and basic information. But in reference to the history of things, they just hit my tooth. The government man did. The situation is very serious, you know, in reference to government violations. You know, I was supposed to be at my mother and father's mansions. That's where I'm supposed to be. Satellite number 1, number 14, 22, number 32. It's got a glare on it. So number 31, 14, 22, 32, number 6, number 3, number 25, number 1, number 10, number 16, number 29, and 23. Ooh. I don't know if you can see that. But in reference to the situation, you know, the Deeds Department, you know, it's an office of importance. They have to go over and say, hey, which people are doing this, which people are doing that. And I own the property deeds at the companies too. So the deeds department has to go to every one of my companies and say, hey, this is a picture of the owner. Do you know who the owner is? You know, they have to go around and show them my picture too. You know that, right? And they have to get people to sign documents saying they seen a picture of me, I guess. Yeah. That's what they're supposed to do. Whether it's a franchise business or whether it's whichever kind of business it is. You know, I own the parent companies of my mother and father's companies. I own everything. And the deeds department, you know, is supposed to be aware of each other in other cities and states, just in case one deeds department has a problem in Indianapolis. They're supposed to call Chicago. They're supposed to call Ohio. They're supposed to call California and New York and New Jersey and Texas and every city and state in the country to find out if those deeds departments are still the deeds departments or if they've been hijacked by criminals of government or criminals of a regime of politicians. You know, the deeds department's got to kind of keep in contact with each other. You know, I'm trying to travel. I need information. I need my mother and father's mansion addresses because, you know, plus every house in Beverly Hills, you know, I'm supposed to be able to move into any property at any moment, but they're blocking me. Like if there's an open house there in Beverly Hills, I'm supposed to be able to go right to it, you know. But people have blocked me, and government people tried to hijack Beverly Hills and Bel Air. That's in reference to me waiting for my mother and father's mansion keys. He ain't supposed to have to wait for his mother and father's mansion keys. Where's the keys? I'm not supposed to have to wait too long for money either. There's something outside again. Hello, Governor Cuomo's office, and Governor of Chicago, and Governor of California. I don't think that's a raccoon. I don't know. Somebody's outside. No BS. Anyways, reference to the deeds department. You know, it's very important. I need money to travel. I need to move immediately to my mother and father's mansions. To another city and state. It's very important. But in reference to the deeds department, you know, they're supposed to go say, hey, what are you doing with this man's postal mail? What's it doing at your property? What's it doing at your location? Who are you? And then they'll say something, whoever they are, and then you're supposed to arrest them for their crimes. Because the deeds department is supposed to be very in tune with a lot of things about who I am. And you would know that because even when I was in California, there was people trying to steal my apartment that I stayed in. They were trying to push me out of my apartment, and it was in one of my father's buildings. Which I wasn't even supposed to have to pay rent, because I owned the building. It was one of my father's buildings, wasn't it? In the apartment building, 7513 Fountain and Gardner, isn't that one of my father's buildings, the Sunbelt Fountain Apartments? Look it up. I don't know if it is. Look it up. But the apartment building is across from Warner Brothers Studios. Those are some of my apartment properties, aren't they? I'm not supposed to have to pay rent there either. But I'm supposed to be at my mother and father's mansions. But right now, I'd want to move to one of the apartments just to get out of Indianapolis, Indiana. No, I don't have a criminal record. No, I ain't done nothing wrong. No, I haven't done nothing wrong. I'm trying to move. This is a hostage situation, and they're trying to blame me for a bunch of bullshit. I don't get involved in people's tricks. Everything's court cases against the government. And there's been court cases, and I haven't received a fucking penny, and I've won in every court case. They never even told me where I could pick up my lawsuit monies. See, the Treasury's got to pay things. Reference to if there's a person that I have a lawsuit against, the lawsuit's starting the billions, and the Treasury's got to subsidize monies to the amount of the lawsuits. And if they have to put criminal charges on the violators, whoever those people are, then that goes on their records, and some of those people go to prison for a very long time. But, you know, I'm supposed to be at my mother and father's mansions. That's what the facts are. And the deeds department is supposed to be helping, because the deeds department knows that there are people that tried to hijack properties, people tried to steal things, and people tried to block me from my identification. No, it's very serious. Lots of things of importance. Hello, Deeds Department. Hello, Wall Street. Hello, New York, Chicago, California, Texas, Vegas, other cities and states. Lots of things of importance. Hello, Canada.